And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 92 of Rope-A-Dope Boxing, where the two Daves are back once again for another year, bringing you banter, bringing you facts, bringing you opinions, bringing you predictions, and probably a whole load of bullshit as we normally do. But you've come back. That's quite evidence because you're right here in front of us. You've stuck with us, and as you're sticking with us, guys, just give that like, just give that share, just give that subscribe button, just give them a tap like that. We're in first week in January. I'm going to ask you every week all the way through to December, and I'll do the same in 2026, and I'll do the same in 2027. You do us a favour, and we'll do you a favour. Your favour to us is spreading the word, and our favour to you is bringing fantastic boxing content at least once or twice a week. So simple. But anyway, guys, Happy New Year. This is the first one of the year. My co-host is sitting there right next to me, Mr. David Holland. Brother, barely spoke to you over the Christmas period, over the New Year period. How's it all been, mate? I've missed you.
Yeah, I actually missed this, mate. I'm sort of glad we're doing this tonight. It seems like we ain't done it for ages. So again, Happy New Year to yourself, mate. Yeah, you've got a bit on down a rabbit hole. You've been very quiet over Christmas. I mean, I haven't said a lot either. I didn't actually do a lot. I've got to be honest. I've done my back in, as you've probably seen on the WhatsApp group. That was me fucking around at home doing DIY. Back went brilliant. I've had a few piss ups. I've done Boxing Day. Didn't get on the piss Christmas Day. Done a load of travelling around family and stuff. So we barely ate with that. Didn't even have a dinner. That was how my Christmas Day went.
What?
Yeah. Like I say,
you didn't. Hang on. Stop there. You didn't have a Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. The only day of the year, the only bird you have once a year is a turkey, and you never fucking had it. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, you know, I've got family illnesses in the family, as you know. So we had to get round to her dad. Then I had to do a 40-mile round trip round to my sister to see my dad. We never got there till 5 o'clock. So everyone's had their dinners, and I was picking up what they had left over at my sister's.
Turkey sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, and not even that, it was just turkey on the side. I was just scoffing it in. So it's the things you do. You know, it's the things you do for family. Unfortunately, we didn't get to sit down this year, but you know, it's one of them things. But I had a few drinks. I had not on Christmas Day. Well, I did actually. When I got home on Christmas night, I had a few. I got levered on Boxing Day, and I got levered on New Year's Eve. So I'd had a few drinks and I had a nice time off. Went back to work last Thursday, bit of a stinker, but I was firing on all cylinders at work today because I had them 2 days. People were coming in after having like 2 weeks off, like more or less crying their eyes out. Like, oh, and we'd had a warm up early last week, so we were up for it. So yeah, it wasn't too bad, mate. But what did you get up to?
Well, as you know, everyone knows I work in retail, so literally the store or stores close twice a year, once Christmas Day and once for Easter Sunday. So me working nights, I work I more or less work 2 days in one. So for an example, if I'm working on a Saturday night, that goes into a Sunday morning. So I'm working 2 days. So I've had literally, mate, 2 whole days off over the Christmas period. I had Christmas Day off and I had New Year's Eve off, and that was it. And as you can imagine, those 2 days I just went silly on alcohol. It's probably a bit standard like you, apart from the family illnesses and things like that, mate. Ate too much, drunk too much. I've got to be honest though, I've gone a bit mad on the wine this year. I don't know what you're like. I mean, we spoke about wine before on this podcast, but I've gone actually crazy about wine. And I'll give you a little example. It involves only fools and horses as well. So do you remember the episode, or guys, do you remember the episode, one of the early ones when Del Boy was having bets? I think it was the card game one. And he said to Rodney, or to Boise, he says, I bet you I know what the next guy walking into the pub is, what he's going to drink. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was a big Irish bloke, wasn't it? And he had a martini or something. He expected him to drink a pint or whatnot. So I walked in the Wetherspoons New Year's Eve with my missus. Baseball, New York Yankees baseball cap on, Adidas tracksuit on, Nike Air Max, and like a proper chav. Now, if anybody was playing that game on that day, they would say, "Well, I know exactly what he's going to have. He's going to have a pint of Carlin, or he's going to have a snake bite or some chavvy kind of cheap drink." There I was, get to the bar. Can I have a bottle of Chardonnay, please, and 2 wine glasses? I look so out of place, but I've got this. I just love the taste of wine at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Or maybe it's a 42-year-old thing, but I'm going for the wine rather than the lager. I'm going to be a bit of a hypocrite because I'm on the lager today. I've got a bit of a Stella there. There's going to be a lot of talking here, and I obviously get a dry throat. But yeah, mate. Good New Year. Well, quiet New Year. Good Christmas. Spent so much money on the kids. They're bored already. Well, I take that back. The lad is absolutely addicted to Fortnite. I don't know if I should be worried or not, but he's making most of the Xbox he had. But yeah, January now, second week of January, well, first week if you like. back to the boxing. So I've been down a little bit of a rabbit hole, as you said, especially boxing terms. I've had to give it up for 2 weeks, mate, because I said on the last podcast, it was driving the missus crazy. If I'm not doing podcasts, if I'm not watching boxing, if I'm not listening to boxing, it's, you know, as I said before, imagine if I was out the house 24/7. She'd go mad then. She's mad when I'm in the house, but it's obviously, you know, everything involved is boxing. So I've switched off and now I'm back on it, mate. I'm definitely back on it. How have you been with the sweet science? Have you been indulging much in it?
Yeah.
Watching any highlights of things and bits of
I have. And I was gutted. We had cancellations because obviously we was going to have a new and we was going to have Tijani, wasn't it? Tijai? I forgot shit with names.
Yeah,
you know.
Taraji, got cancelled.
Taraji.
Yeah, he pulled out, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, so they both pulled out. So I was looking forward to that. Yeah, I've been watching bits and pieces and been doing bits and bobs on there. But again, just watching old. I like watching old fights now, as you know. So I go back during the archives and I watch old fights. So I was watching Mayweather Shane Mosley a couple of days ago, and it's not that it's irrelevant to what we're doing now, but I like watching I like watching the repeats and stuff, and I like going through with Alf because obviously no Alf's a boxer. And I like showing him all the Hagler Hearns and all them types.
Did you get anything boxing related for Christmas? Now you mentioned your lad.
No.
No?
He's got no, because fucking hell, he wants his own shorts. And I said I'll get him for his next fight. They're £250. With Holland and that on him, and Alfie on the front, and all these rubbish. I did say if I get you them shorts, you've got to have the Rope-a-Dope badge on them.
That's our next sponsor then next year.
Yeah. So that's so that he's going to have them on there because you can get like them, you know, like you used to years ago. You can get them ironed on. So he'll have the Rope-a-Dope badge on it. That's the only way he's getting £250 shorts. I can tell you that. But no, he got all clothes and stuff like that. He's mad clothes and whatnot. He was training though. He trained on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I heard you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he trained on Christmas Eve up in so yeah, he's doing well.
That's commitment for you. That is commitment for you, mate.
Yeah, I'm proud of him.
Yeah, and we're committed to this as well, guys. As I say, start of January, we're back on it. Weekly podcast, the best boxing podcast out there. Well, we think so anyway. The numbers are growing on YouTube, which is great to see. You obviously like seeing our ugly mugs rather than listening to us on an audio feed. Yeah. And we jump into I called it last year the Oscars. Our Rope-a-Dope, we've done our first ever Oscars, if you like. So basically, it's a review, but we're calling it the Rope-a-Dope Boxing Podcast Oscars. We'll go through our top threes of most things. We give our prospects to watch out for, our pound for pound top 10. We've also got fights coming up this week involving Dave's boy Jai Opetaia, Callum Simpson doing bits and bats over in Sheffield, and we've got a new section at the end which will be valuable to a boxer or somebody involved in boxing at the end of the year. So I'll leave that one till later. But we'll crack on with our review, mate. We will start with our top 3 fights of 2024. So there's obviously been loads of fights over the year. Last year when we done our review, we done from January to December. I've tried to cut all that out now and just go for our top 3 fights. And obviously if we've missed anything, we might give an honourable mention to some of those fights that we've missed out. But do you want to start with your top 3 first, Dave, or shall I?
I'll go first, mate. I've got actually 4. I'll fling another one in because I've been looking at this.
4 has to be an honourable mention.
Okay, it'll be an honourable mention then. My first, so I'll go 3, 2, and 1. Yeah. So number 3 for me is Virgil Ortiz versus Boyacek. Virgil Ortiz down twice, got up, showed some steel. Really, really good fight. One for the ages. That's one you could go back to and enjoy again. You know, I just talked about fights that I go back and look at with my son. Your Hagler Hearnses and your Gatty Wards and you know, all them sort of fights. You know, it's a bit strong to say it's up, but it was, you know, it's one to go back through in a few years' time. I think you'll appreciate it more. But I appreciate it. That's my number 3. My number 2 is Ray Ford versus Kolmatov.
Yeah, a lot of people have got that.
They have, and you can see what. And I've watched it back since because the thing is, I said to you off camera. I've had to remind. We do this every week for a whole year, but we roll on to the next one. So we're looking at the next one, and it sort of goes out your mind. So I've gone back through the archives and watched it from January back, and I picked up the best fights of the year, and I've gone through all this stuff, and I watched that fight again, and again showed some stones. Ray Ford, he was losing, wasn't he? He was losing right up to the last round. I mean that's Rocky stuff.
Yeah.
And So yeah, another great fight to go back and watch anytime you'd like to. I mean, it's a great fight, and obviously we're British, and I'm going to go for number one. And do you know what? I kicked myself because this is one thing I do remember. I didn't fancy this fight. I didn't fancy this fight at all. I could have gone. I decided not to. And my number one is Wardley Clark 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought that was a great fight. It had blood, guts, busted noses. It had knockdowns. It had it all. And the fact that I was going to go, and I actually looked at tickets on the day and I thought, oh no, fuck it. The O2's a ball ache, and I mentioned it on this. A ball ache for me to get back for. I'm absolutely gutted because it's been one of the best fights I've ever seen live. Anyway, so yeah, for me, it just had the lot. No one expected it to be. They all just thought it was going to be like a. It wasn't, and it was a slobber knocker. Don't get me wrong, but
exciting though, wasn't it?
It was exciting, man. It was a great. Yeah, and again, what we go on about that for me was fantastic. So that's my top three. My honorable mention is going to go to Katie Taylor Serrano 2.
Yeah,
I want to throw that one in there. Just one for the girls there to say how fantastic that was. But that's my top three, mate.
Well, the two of yours are in my honourable mentions. Wardley Clark 1 and Ortiz against Boychuk. I've written them down. I'm going to surprise you with my number 3. I think I might surprise you.
Yeah.
I've gone for this fight based on controversy, based on mind games, based on one of the guys missing weight, one of the guys being overweight, mental health issues, and what happened after. I've gone for Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia as my number 3.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to throw that not get called a no contest, no?
Oh, fuck off.
Are we finding no contest in here? No, go on, listen.
No contest.
It's our show. We can do what we want. Go on, mate.
Yeah. It did get killed in no contest, but everything leading into it and the fight itself, Devin Haney was coming off. Well, he was both in our pound for pound top 10s. He was in most people's, unless you're a Devin Haney hater, he was in most people's pound for pound top 10s. He went life and death with Lomachenko, which most people thought he won. I had Lomachenko. Either way, he got the decision and he got the belts. His school Regis Pro grade. He was looking at $1 million. Ryan Garcia's obviously got the following. He's got a massive sort of young following as well. He's handsome, attractive, good on the mic, everything that goes with it. We knew he was dangerous, but we didn't think he would go in there and destroy Devin Haney the way he did. Buzzed him in 20 seconds, put him down 3 or 4 times. It was a really exciting fight for what we got. And then obviously at the end, we found out that he failed 2 drug tests. He's currently having his ban for what it's worth at the moment. But the actual event, the actual fight itself, I thought it was really enjoyable, mate. And that's made my number 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
Number 2, Bivol against Beterbiev. We wanted it for years, mate. There's not a lot I can say on that, apart from it being an elite chess match. It deliver, and it delivered. And we're getting it again in February, March. Tom, I can't remember the exact day. I think it's March, isn't it? Is it March 22nd?
Yeah.
22nd, March, isn't it? We're getting it again, and it's going to deliver again. You've got the puncher boxer in Beterbiev and the skilled craftsman in Bivol, both doing their thing, both winning their round. Super, super close fight, and that's what I like. We love the sweet science on here, and it fucking delivered, mate.
Yeah.
Obviously, number 1, it's got to be Fury Usyk, number 1, the first fight for me, mate. Usyk, obviously, from cruiserweight to heavyweight, doing this thing. First undisputed fight in 25 years. Got it courtesy of Uncle Turkey, nearly stopping Tyson Fury for the first time, held up by the ropes. Quite conclusive, in my opinion. And we got it again last month. I didn't think the second one, as I said on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, was as good. No. But it was just a huge moment as well. I mean, we talk about legends and things that happened in the past when we weren't alive, or when we were kids and things like that. We're living in a generation where boxing is changing. We're seeing so many great fights courtesy of Turkey, and we're getting generational talents like Alexander Usyk. And it just had to be my number 1, especially I'd been a super fan of him as well. So yeah, they're my 3 favourite fights of 2024, matey. What do you take out of it?
You've definitely gone down the route of the sweet science and fair play. I listen. I got no problems with that. I was just trying to be slightly different. Listen,
there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer.
No.
How you enjoyed 2024?
And listen, they are super fights, and for me they lived up to exactly what you said. I can't disagree with anything you said there. They were high class chess match, elite boxers, trying to work each other out, and and it was nip and tuck, and it was defined margins of greatness in them type of fights. So I've got no issues with that, mate. Mine are more a bit slogger knockers, and and whatnot. And but yeah, listen, all great fights. And if we get anything like that this year, then we're in for another good year.
So you see there, guys, I've got top 3 performances next. So some people might say, well, that's the same as the top 3 fights. It's not. Top 3 fights, I've said there, by Bivol Beterbiev, super close fight. Then you may have a fight we're going to talk about now. That was a performance by one person that looks super good. Yeah. So top 3 performances, Dave. What have you got for your top 3, mate?
So in at number 3, I mean, I've got Galal Yafai versus Sonny Edwards.
Oh.
I thought
Galal. Mate, how did I miss that? That's a great shout. Yeah, of course it is. It was one-sided, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic breakout performance. Say what you want about Sonny not wanting to be there, wanting to smoke zoots and all this sort of other shit. You still got to turn up and do your job. And for me, Galal Yafai was fantastic. And you know, and it sets him up for a great year. I thought that was a great performance, a standout performance by a single person. And I think he should get his flowers for that performance. Yeah. So I've got Galal Yafai in at number 3.
I like that.
You knew this guy was going to be on my lips at some point in time. So in at number 2 is Bam Rodriguez versus Estrada.
Yeah,
that performance for me was amazing. Again, I've watched that back recently. The body shot, everything about it. I've sort of been blindsided. My mind's gone blank doing this. Purely for Bam Rodriguez.
Once, isn't it?
Yeah, no, do you know what it is? Because I can't look past Bam Rodriguez over anything. Yeah. Like you know how you feel about Usyk, and that is how I feel about Bam at the minute. I absolutely love him, and everything that I'm doing, his name just keeps coming into my head. I've got to try and push him aside. And he can't be Bam for every topic. Yeah. but in that again, Estrada, yeah, people can say that he was, he's on the back end of his career, whatnot. But he's still an all-time great. He's still a pound-for-pound great.
Yes, he is, yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer. And for what Bam done to him, no one else has done that. It was a lovely, great performance.
Bam Rodriguez, sorry, mate. Bam Rodriguez is the only person to stop a legend in Estrada in 48 fights. And don't forget, he put Bam down as well. So he was chin-checked.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was for me. That was a brilliant performance. And my number 1. This year, and he's gonna get mentioned a couple of times because he deserves it in the run that he went on and whatnot. It's Daniel Dubois versus AJ. You got to listen. Yeah, I wasn't pleased with what Daniel Dubois did to Usyk. And he sort of let himself down there, and it pissed me off a little bit.
He was advised to do that. He was told to do that, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
But his run up to him becoming world champion and what he's achieved this year, and we'll go on later on and talk about him again, I'm sure. But what he went and done this year, it can't. It's unmatched for me. He was down in the dumps. He was called a quitter, whatnot. He's gone back and he's fought live opponents, built himself back up, gained confidence, and gone on to become champion of the world. And that performance against AJ, and I was there, was
Ed.
I was the highest seat you could possibly be in Wembley, and I loved it. And so for me, that's the stand-up performance of the year. From number 1 for me is Daniel Dubois.
Like it, mate. I don't know. I'll miss Galal Yafai. That's a great shout against a former world champion as well. You're spot on there. I had Bam Rodriguez against Estrada, and I toyed with these. So obviously that was my honourable mention, even though how good he was that night and how good he is anyway. But number 3 for me, Dave, just pipping him, is Nairo Inoue against Luis Nery. Now, the reason I've gone with Inoue against Nery is because I just spoke about Bam being chin-checked, but that was a flash knockdown. But he still got up and answered questions. Inoue looked kind of hurt when he was chin-checked against Nery, got up and was pissed off. First time he'd been down in his career, first time he was asked any questions, and he just went in there and done what Nairo Inoue does as a multiple weight world champion and smashed him to bits. I thought it was a great performance from him. Again, a lot of bias with a love for Inoue, but I just thought the performance of him being asked questions, being hurt, and getting up and doing what he done to Nery, who was a good world level fighter, was fantastic for me, mate. So he made my number 3.
Can I, before you move to your number 2, mate? Let me just jump in on that. Do you know the bit I like the most about that whole fight and that whole knockdown scenario for Inoue is that when he got knocked down, he didn't panic. He didn't jump straight back up on wobbly legs like Amir Khan used to do. He took his time. He got to the count of 8 on one knee. Then got up slowly, composed himself. Like I say, it's the first time he's been knocked down as well. He could have been easily gone into survival mode and panicked and up straight away. And, he didn't. He took his time, took some breaths, done the 8 count, then stood up, then just took over again and just done what he does. That was my favourite bit of that. Is he showed his class in that moment, because it's quite easy to panic, especially against a puncher like Neary as well, because Neary's known for, he's known for that.
He is Mexican as well for start, and as well, you're right. There was composure there from Inoue and Team Inoue for something that's never happened to him in a professional ring. So again, you can add that bit onto it as well. Number 2 for me, Dave, Joe Cordina against Anthony Cacace. For me, Anthony Cacace that night was we all backed Joe Cordina. Every man in his dog backed Joe Cordina. Our hardcore, staunch Cacace fans. Anthony Cacace had been out the ring for so long. He's the back end of 30s. He's coming into his late 30s now. He's never fought anybody of sort of world level. Joe Cordina, the Welsh-witted, we spoke about him many times. He's one of the UK's most skillful fighters. Had a bit of a bad night over in Monaco. Expect him to go onto the world stage. Well, he was a world champion, so I'll take that back. To go on to bigger and better things on set in Saudi, showcase his skills, get the job done against Cacace, and then move on to bigger and better things. And Cacace that night, mate, was fantastic, and that's why he's made my number 2. Not only did he beat Joe Cordina up, he fucking stopped him, and he stopped him in style. Do you remember that one?
I absolutely do, mate. And again, that will get a mention later on in the show from myself. It's in a different category. But no, and see what this, and like I say to Uncle Turkey, these are the sort of things that he threw up this year for me. There's a couple of performances like this where the underdogs come out on top, and all of a sudden he's on the next show. He's getting and he's his name's up in lights, and that's what you get stuff off of merit, and Cacace is in that now. He was in the doldrums of boxing. He must be perfectly honest. He was. He was in the boxing doldrums, and they were talking. He's always injured. He can't do this. And his shots come up, and he's fucking took it. And
and he's defended his belt since against Josh Warrington, by the way.
Yeah, he did. So that's what I'm saying. But without this, with Cordina, none of this happens. And this is what Uncle Turkey, brings to boxing.
Definitely. And obviously, number 1, it's obviously been mentioned already. It's got to be Usyk for me. Just everything about the undisputed fight and doing it twice, defending the belts against Tyson Fury, unbeaten Fury. You got to remember as well, guys, it may sound boring to you or it's biased. There was a 4-stone difference between Usyk and Fury. 4 stone is a lot of weight to give away. 4 stone, Fury had the height advantage, he had the reach advantage, power possibly. And Alexander Usyk went in there and wasn't phased at all. And, a cruiserweight champion going in there and sort of breaking the mold of Wilder, AJ, Fury, and obviously doing a job on Daniel Dubois as well. It's a fairy story. When you think about it, Dave, it's a fairy story, really. That wasn't supposed to happen. Usyk wasn't on anybody's radar 5 or 6 years ago when he was doing his super series down with Marius Bradis and a couple of the other guys down at cruiserweight. So it's for him to come in and sort of take over and dominate and be crowned the best fighter, the best heavyweight in the blue chip division of this generation deserves to be the performance of the year. But obviously, that's talking about the first fight, because I thought the first fight he was showed me something very, very special. So yeah, again, a lot of bias talking, but I do mean what I say. Honourable mentions, Dave. I had Daniel Dubois against AJ, his performance there.
Yeah.
And one I thought you may mention, but there again, you kind of predicted this back on Murtazeliev against Tim Tszyu. I thought him doing that to Tim Tszyu, when again we spoke about Anthony Cacace, mate. Even though Murtazeliev was a champion, no one was talking about him. We weren't talking about him on this podcast, and I'm a listener of a lot of podcasts. Nobody was talking about him. Now nobody wants to fight the motherfucker. So what he went and done to Tim Tszyu on that night, mate, was a brilliant performance from him, even though he was a champion,
Yeah, again, that's mentioned in another category for me as an honourable mention. But yeah, and it wasn't that. Obviously, I predicted it. I'd seen him. But I'd seen him leading up to it, and I thought the size of him and whatnot. I thought, hang on a minute. But it wasn't so much that it was the nature of the defeat. It was the performance he put in to Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu, everyone says, is a throwback fighter, whatnot. But he just got dismantled in 3 rounds. Knocked down 4 times, and it was a great performance. Yeah.
So that could kind of be classed as an upset as well. He was the champion, but Tim Tszyu was the favourite. So let's go into our next category here, mate. The top 3 upsets of 2024. What you got, brother?
Well, I'm gonna use 2 of them you just mentioned as honourable mentions. So one of them was Cacace and Joe Cordina. That wasn't meant to happen. So that I put that as an upset. But Mertzeliev versus Tim Dazou is the number 1 and it's not so much that it's an upset, but like, oh my god, I can't believe it. It was the nature of the defeat. It was the manner of the defeat that made it that. Because even if you thought Mertzeliev was going to win, and I didn't predict that.
And that's it's not that early either. No.
Yeah. So that was two. So you took 2 of mine. Right. So my number 3 is Mark Chamberlain and Josh Padley.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
You like that, huh?
I do like that one. I don't know how I missed that. That's a big upset. That was because he's disappeared now, Chamberlain, isn't he?
Yeah. Again, I missed. That was the one fight I never got to fucking Wembley in time for.
Yeah.
But I was on my way to it. But yeah, that was an upset there. I think that the upset that's happened is the major one. I'll get to that in a minute. But my second one is Liam Parrow versus Sir Brian Matthias.
I've got that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That was never meant to happen. Never meant to happen. Exactly. He was the boogeyman. No one wanted to fight him. Liam Parrow went in there and got the decision, and a good win.
Matthias was champion. He was in his own backyard in Puerto Rico, and Parrow went in there, put his hand up, and beat him. He just didn't beat him. He beat him convincingly, didn't he?
He did. And then he beat him on the front foot. Fight fire with fire. So then
loses to a back foot fight in Richards and Hitchens. Styles make fights, guys.
Yeah, exactly it. And my number 1, I think everyone's number 1 of the upset of the year is Harriman guy against Race of Sarah.
Jesus,
you can't not have that with number 1.
No. You go back to that Ray Ford against Kolmatov fight. You speaking about that. Bruno Siraj, he had 4 knockouts on his resume. Didn't carry any power. Never fought outside of France. It was a nice. We said it was a nice Christmas present for the Mexican fans in Tijuana, in Munguia's hometown. Showcase, tee off, nice little prezi. Let's all go and enjoy Christmas, eat our turkey, and get cracking again. He was beating Siraj from pillar to post, and then not so much the last round when he rolled the dice, as you said before. When we all saw it, he dropped his hands. And not only is that an upset or the upset of the year, that we said that was classed as one of the KOs of the year as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. It was it was all fundamental mistakes. It was cockiness. It was, he's thinking the same thing we are. There's no way this guy can knock me out. But if you put your hands as low as he has, and you're going to put your chin there, and you're going to take a 1-2, it doesn't matter who hits you, mate. If they've been training for God knows how many years, boxers know how to punch. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much power you carry. If you can hit him on the sweet spot, it does not matter. And Maguire found that the hard way. I'm sure, and I'm seeing rumours he's running that back double lively, and I'm sure he will. And I made a massive prediction last time we were on here that he'll blitz him in round 1 and show him who's fucking boss, because he was bossing the fight. He was bossing the absolute fight.
He put Siraj down in round 2, so he thought, how long is this going to last, wasn't it? So yeah, that's got to be everybody's number 1. It's most people, what I've seen so far on Twitter and stuff like that, they've got that as their number 1.
It's very difficult not to have that as number 1.
Yeah, agree.
There's some upsets, but that's a fucking nail, and a knockout as well.
Yeah. Did you see he was out drinking with the actual ref?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I know, yeah. I don't know what he was buying him a fucking drink for. Like you said, he fucking counted 1, 2, 3, 4. Fucking counted him out in fucking 3 seconds.
Yeah. No hard feelings, obviously. He seems to be a genuine guy, Munguia. I writ down for one of mine, Dave.
Yeah.
A bit like you with Mertzeliev and Sue. Because I predicted Daniel Dubois to beat AJ. I was one of the rare ones. And I've got the seats on our podcast. Yeah. Obviously, AJ went in there as the favourite. Obviously, Daniel Dubois had been upgraded to champion. Yeah. That was kind of a little bit of an upset as well. But I gave my reasons why I didn't think AJ would win, coming off, and then Garnu win, coming off a Wallin win, coming off a Franklin win. So that can kind of be classed as an upset as well. But I've got the same as you. I've got Parrow Matthias at 3, Kakachi and Cordina at 2, and Jaime Munguia against Bruno Siraj at number 1. Right.
Yeah. Well, I had Chamberlain and Padley number 2 for me.
Yes, you did. Yes. Yeah.
I got an honourable mention for Kakachi. But yeah, you like the old Padley one, eh? Everyone forgets about that. They
do. Mark Uncle Turkey's favourite fighter, Mark Chamberlain, crest of a wave. We're talking about doing the who's his rival? My mind's gone blank. Queensbury fighter, Sam Noakes fight. Yeah, now it's all falling apart. Sam Noakes is going on to bigger and better things by the looks of it, and nobody can find Mark Chamberlain. So yeah, that wasn't a robbery. That was an upset. We've got top 3 robberies written down. Now, we spoke off camera, and you said there were certain categories you found hard to do.
Yeah.
When we talk robberies, apart from number 1, which I think should be nailed on for most people, I found this hard because there's fights here I pick, mate, that I don't believe are robberies, but the person or persons that got their hand raised should never have won that fight. So I've kind of gone down that route because I found
I have. Yeah, I found it difficult to say that. Well, 2 of mine are fucking robberies, but my number 3, I found it very difficult to say it's a robbery. It's one of them, but I think the person should have won. Anyway, so my number 3 is Ray Vargas, Nick Ball.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Ball knocked him down twice. You know, there was swing rounds in it, but for me, it definitely wasn't a draw.
I like it. Yeah. I haven't even got that mentioned. Well done. Yeah.
You like that? But I'm pulling out a few classics here, innit, Graham? You're quite impressed, didn't you?
I am, yeah. So many fights happen. It's hard.
I know. It really is. It really is. And do you know what I'm going to do next year? Anything that comes out, I'm gonna jot that down so that I haven't got to go at the end of the year and look back from it, because we talk about it at 1 week and then we go off to the next week.
Yeah.
And then I go back. Oh fucking hell, yeah. You know, like 12 months is a long time when we talk about boxing every week. do you know what I mean?
We're proving it now. So yeah, but that's a great shout. Ray Vargas did not win that fight. Didn't even shouldn't have got a draw out of it. So yeah, I totally get it. I've gone down the same sort of avenue with that, mate. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Robson Conceição versus Oshaki Foster.
Hang on, that's your number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2.
You're going to know my number 1 because I kicked up a stink about it.
I can't see what trumps that, but go on.
So my number 1, remember I was on Twitter. I was backing this guy constantly.
Oh, fucking
Arnold Barboza versus Sean McComb.
McComb, yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah, of the big stink that I made of that, mate. I could not have that at number 1.
Yeah. Hell, yeah, you're right.
Did you forget about that one as well?
I forgot about that one as well. That wasn't. Yeah, you're right. That was a robbery. But mate, I agree with you. It was a robbery. I can't see anything past Foster and Conceição.
No, I know.
Really
it's more because of the stink up. You know, like I was on Sean McComb and I was tweeting Barboza every fucking day for about 2 weeks, trying to get the rematch from McComb. So I have to put that at my number 1. But that was both of them were absolute stinkers.
Yeah, I'd have to replace one of mine with that one because that's a great shout. I've got at number 3, Natasha Jonas versus Michaela Meyer back in January.
Okay, yeah.
Again, wasn't a robbery, but I've watched it back, not recently, but I watched it back at the time. There was a bit of controversy over it. And I still can't see how Natasha Jonas wins that fight. Yeah. I have to stretch hard to give a draw, for the fight. She won by a split decision, but Michaela Meyer bagged so many rounds. I just can't see a win for Natasha Jonas. So that came in at number 3 for me. And again, Johnny Fisher against Dave Allen just recently, mate. Oh, yeah. Even with the knockdown and Dave Allen winning the last 5 or 6 rounds, whatever it was, Johnny Fisher just doesn't win that fight. I've watched that round. I think every man and his dog have watched that, whether it be the full fight, whether it be extended highlights, the knockdown, everything. Listening to radio stations on Twitter, he just doesn't win that fight. Again, not a robbery because he does clock up 4 or 5 rounds, whatever it is, Johnny Fisher. But he doesn't win the fight. And obviously, as I said there, Oshaki Foster against Robson Conceição was a ridiculous decision. And I've said it before, it was worse than Taylor Catchall won for me. At least the three rounds that Josh Taylor did win against Catchall, he wins, and he wins clearly. Irrelevant of Jack Catchall taking rounds off, he still wins. But Conceição can't land on him. He can't land. He's getting schooled to death. And we actually remember, Dave, when the result was read out, Oshaki Foster was crying in the ring. Yeah. He was crying in the ring. He didn't understand how his work, what he'd done, hit and not get hit for 12 rounds, and he was robbed of his title. Luckily, the WBC, the twats that they are, done something right, and they gave the rematch, and the rematch was a lot closer.
It was. I was going to say that. It was. Yeah. It was Conceição was very good in the rematch, to be fair to him. It was a lot closer of a fight. But yeah, the first fight was an absolute stinker, an absolute robbery. I've got no issues with that. Barboza, McComb, absolute robbery. And then I had Ray Vargas, Nick Ball. Shit happens. But yeah. So with your shout on
Fisher Allen, Jones Meyer.
Johnny Fisher. I had it one round. And that was because of the knockdown. But I thought I'd probably been a bit generous giving Johnny Fisher round 10. So that could have been 2 rounds. But I'm with you. I don't see how that is.
It's still a round though, isn't it? It's still a round. You can't see Fisher winning. It's over 10 rounds. You know. So and obviously Jonas Meyer. What do you remember about that one, mate?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that very well. Now that you mentioned it, Jonas Meyer was brilliant on like the fast feet. Very good boxing. She was too quick for Jonas. I remember that fight very well. I'm with you. It wasn't a Jonas didn't win that fight. She didn't win that fight.
So speaking of female fighters, we've got the top three female fighters of 2024: Natasha Jonas and Michaela Meyer. Do they make any of your top 3, brother?
No, they don't. And the 2 usual suspects that you would usually have in the top 3, they don't make mine either. I'm going different this year, and I'm giving
Taylor and Serrano.
So yes, I'm talking about Taylor Serrano. They don't make my list.
Yeah.
In my list, we had three world champions this year. So my number 3, I've got Lauren Price. I think she deserves to go in there. I think, and especially on her last performance where she splattered her opponent, showed a bit of spite, but she became world champion this year, and she's going into a big fight with Natasha Jonas in the new year, which would be great, all female card. Yep. So she goes in at my number 3. Number 2 for me, Sky Nicholson, another one that's gone to become a world champion this year. WBC. Serrano threw away the belt. She fought for it. Never lost a round. Beautiful boxing. Would like a bit of pop, but you don't really get that in the women's game. But boxing skills. Same with Lauren Price. Although again, I've just said that she splattered her last opponent. She was in that bracket up to that fight. Boxing skills elite. And my number 1 is Gabrielle Fundora.
Yeah.
Sweet
you've done more homework than I have, because I don't know how I fucking missed her. Jesus Christ.
Who have you missed? Fundora.
You should be number 1, shouldn't she?
You can't not have Sweet Poison.
Honestly, mate, I've missed her. Go on. You're right. She should be there. She's had a great year. And we've talked about her so much on this podcast. I'm ashamed of myself.
What is happening? Cut. Can we cut this? Yeah, Gabrielle Fundora. She's had a great year. And again, she's another one that carries pop spite. She's tall, she's rangy. You expect her to be on the back foot because she's got long levers and whatnot, but she doesn't. She goes on the front foot and just pummels her opponents, takes them out. So she's my number 1.
Joking aside, I thought you might have thrown Emma Dolan in, or Jasmine has had a touch now.
Honourable mentions to them.
Lack of activity for those girls, though, especially Emma.
An honourable mention for them too. They were good enough to come on our show, and hopefully they'll be a bit more active next year or this year. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Emma's got one lined up soon. I'm sure she has. I think the rumours floating about she might be on that female card. Jonas Meyer down at Royal Albert Hall, mate. So
I have messaged her to ask, but she hasn't come back to me. So maybe she's keeping it under her hat until she's sure.
She has to defend her belt sooner or later. So
yeah.
Mate, number 3. This might surprise you. I've got Clarissa Shields at number 3.
Okay, no, that's okay. Yeah.
Reason being, it's not her fault about the pool of talent. With Clarissa Shields, I also asked the question: who's the better? Who's the GOAT? And obviously, 9 times out of 10, most people say Katie Taylor, and I get it. I totally get it. The opponent she's had in her career, what she's achieved, but Clarissa Shields to me is such a good, underrated boxer, and this year she became a five-weight world champion. For whatever that means, she's still done it. She can only beat what's put in front of her. She's still undefeated. She's dipped her toe in MMA. She's had 2 wins there. I just think if she was a bit more active, she would be the GOAT. But it's hard getting fights for her. But she's still sort of come out of her comfort zone, gone into the cage as well, tried to earn a few more coin and get herself a bit more recognised. But she's a 5-weight world champion, and that's irrelevant who she's beaten, and what she's done. That would be nailed down in the record books along with her Olympic gold medal. So she makes my number 3. Number 2, Lauren Price, for exactly the same reasons you gave, mate. It was definitely changing the guard against Jessica McCaskill, stopped her on a cut, but she was outboxing her, outpointing her. There was levels between the 2 of them. And my number 1, mate, I'm surprised you've missed this girl out of your I know I've missed Gabrielle Fundora, and I should be ashamed. My number 1, Sinisa Estrada.
Yes.
She became
I did look at her. She retired, though, didn't she?
Strawweight.
Yeah, she retired this year, didn't she?
She did. But she picked up all 4 belts. Number 1 versus number 2 against Castavale. Beat her, and she married Chris Mannix, and she's retired now, which is a shame. because I like to see her stay around and defend those belts. But to see a woman, a female in the lower weights get recognition and become undisputed, I think it's a massive, massive achievement. A bigger achievement than all those girls, what they've done this year, even though Gabrielle Fundora should be in that list, along with Price as well. I think she's had a great year, Estrada, and it's a shame to see her go, but hey-ho, these things happen. So, yeah. Taylor Serrano obviously has to get a mention. I don't think they've been as busy and as active, even though they've had another Fight of the Year contender in there, and Sky Nicholson as well. Reason why I didn't put Sky Nicholson in there, Dave, because we're massive fans. We've watched every fight since she's turned pro. She was, I hate saying this, she's more or less an email champ, wasn't she?
Okay. But yeah, that's not her fault though.
It's what? No, it's not. Of course it's not.
No, because like I say, I think she would have fought Serrano. I mean, she got upgraded to Serrano because for the 12 threes.
Yeah.
But she's gone on to defend her belt since then and whatnot. So
blame the WBC. Blame the WBC. Right, so that's our top 3 female fighters. You can see there, guys, so for audio listeners, the top 3 knockouts of 2024. And this is most people's exciting one. This is what people come to boxing for. Even as hardcore boxing fans like me and Dave and the casuals, you come for blood and guts and you come for knockouts. And we've seen some absolute beauties this year, Dave, haven't we?
We absolutely have, mate. I've got a couple of honourable mentions and I'll do them after. But my number 3, and I hate to put it in because it was a bit of a fucking something that we don't really like, and I definitely hate a bit of a fucking showbiz fight. But the knockout was a fucking peach, and it's AJ versus Ngannou. I have to put that. I mean, that right hand that splattered him, after the 3 knockdowns, fucking hell, like it was brutal.
When it folded him,
fucking hell, did he? So yeah, I wasn't a fan of the fight. We did say, all this sort of stuff with MMA fighters. It was. Thank you, AJ. I think we thanked him.
We did.
As much as we like Ngannou, and he's been through a lot last year himself. It was something no parents should go through, but AJ done boxing the world of good that day, especially what Tyson Fury had done previously. So
Tyson Fury lost to him. I don't care. Anyone says he lost to Ngannou, but by a round, the knockdown was enough to give Ngannou the victory. So
yeah,
and that's what put the Fury used to fight back, didn't it? Because of that shit performance he gave.
Yeah, but AJ put that to bed. So
good knockout, though, Dave. Still a good knockout.
It was a great punch. It was a great right hand. My number 2 is Lucas Bowdy versus Ashton Silva. Have you seen that?
When was it? I don't think I have.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you exactly when it was, but he hits him with a 3 punch. It's a black fight.
Oh, is it like a 3-punch combo?
Yeah, and he goes face planting. He face plants it. So Lucas Bowdy, he hits him with 3. He buzzes him. And oh my god, absolutely spanks him. And my knockout of the year is, I'm sure, and I get a feeling you're going to know this one, is Angela Leo versus Luis Alberto Lopez.
Snap.
Yeah. especially as I had mentioned a lot about Luis Alberto having a weird style, and he was splattering people as well in his career. You know what I mean? He knocked out Michael Conlan bad, and he got caught with a left, and he got absolutely banged out right on the button.
That could be of class as an upset as well, because he was a heavy favourite, wasn't he, Alberto Lopez?
Yes.
No one about Angelo Leo going on to being a champion and fighting the rest of the guys in the division.
Yeah.
Again, there's been so many, Dave, and I've gone for exactly the same as you as number 1. Angelo Leo, it was textbook, and he was out cold. Right on the button, out cold.
He was. I've got a couple, before you do your 3, mate, I've got a couple of honourable mentions. My favourite fighter, Bam versus Estrada, the body shot has to be mentioned.
That's my number 3, Dave.
Oh, good. It's an absolute peach.
We love a body shot on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, and that's probably the best body shot of the year.
Absolutely. And my last honourable mention is Wardley Clark 2.
My number 2.
I thought Clark had a stroke. He done this side of his face, and it's like that. What a punch! So yeah, I'll let you carry on, mate, because I've just stole your thunder.
Well, they're the top 3. The same as you, Angelo Leo, Fabio Wardley, and Bam Rodriguez. Inoue against Neary, as I said earlier. He knocked out Luis Neary onto the ropes. He was out cold. Honourable mention as well to Tank Davis icing Frank Martin earlier on in the year.
Yeah.
That was dirty. Obviously, Anthony Joshua. You did mention Joshua, which was good. Daniel Dubois again.
Yeah.
His knockout of Anthony Joshua, face planting him. And nobody talks about Zhilei Zhang and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. The only reason I didn't mention that, mate, sorry to jump in, is that, and fair play to Wilder, he got up. So he actually does get to his feet.
He turned his back on him. Do you remember he turned his back on him?
He come running in, didn't he? And he got caught by Zhang and it spun him. Didn't know where he was. And Zhang just sort of run at him and hit him with a left and put him on his arse. But he actually does get up. So that's the only reason I didn't put that in. But yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah, it's obviously loads more guys, but they're the ones obviously me and David mentioned that stand out from 2024. But yeah, that when I was doing my notes, Dave, without referring to any sort of text or any sort of notes on Twitter and YouTube and things like that, just to refresh my memory, Angelo Leo's was just the one that came to me straight away. I was always going to pick that. So I think it was a naughty knockout against a champion as well. He's gone in there and beat a champion who was on a crest of a wave, doing great things, looking to, possibly unify the division later on this year. So well done to Angelo Leo. So we come to our fighter of the year for 2024. 3 names. Who makes the list of yours, Mr. Holland?
Right. So my number 3, mentioned earlier, the guy with the run that he went on, he deserves to have his flowers. He's become a world champion this year. He's been called a quitter. He's had to come back from the brink of disaster, and he's gone in with names and he's built himself back up. Now he's been in a fight for the biggest crowd in the UK ever, 98,000 or whatever it was, and he's knocked out the golden boy of British boxing. And my number 3 is Daniel Dubois. He has to be up there. For that,
it's alone. The run, I think, Dave. You mentioned there the run. Jarrell Miller, when he was getting beat, and Jarrell was leaning all over him. How long would he go? Would he tire and take that triple knee again?
Yeah.
Hrgović was supposed to be the second coming. Nobody wanted to fight Hrgović. He's gone in there and stopped Hrgović, and obviously he's gone in against Anthony Joshua, as you rightly said, the golden boy, and he's absolutely wiped the floor with him.
Yeah, so
he has to make the list.
He has to. You got to give him his flowers, mate. He's gone on some run. He's rebuilt himself, got himself some confidence, and become world champion. So fair play to that. I could not have this guy as my number 2. My number 2 is Jesse Bam Rodriguez.
Snap again.
He has to. The fighters that he's gone in with and what he's done to him, he's just a special talent. He's 24 years old, and I am so high on this guy. Honestly, you know me, mate. I don't stay up for fights and that. But you see, when he's fighting, I'm staying up for it. He has got me hooked. He's special for me, man. He does everything just absolutely. He's got venom. He's got movement. He's boxing IQ. For me, he is just a superstar. I absolutely love the bones off of him. He is my favourite fighter at the minute.
I've said it before. Sorry to interrupt. I've said it before about Bam because he's my number 2 as well. We've got exactly the same. Below super bantamweight, I don't think there's any fighter that beats him.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anybody that beats Bam Rodriguez at this current moment.
No,
nobody.
No, I say, you know what? It'll only ever boil down to him going up too many weights because it always does, and that would be what beats him.
21 is he? 22, if that?
He's 24.
24. So he's still a baby.
He's still young.
That's the frightening thing, Dave. He hasn't even hit his prime yet.
No. For me, he's just a special fighter. He's exciting. He's explosive. And he looks like a little nerdy geezer. Out of the ring, he's got glasses.
Librarian.
Yeah, he does. But he's an animal, and I absolutely love him.
He's taking out legends. He's a legends player. That's what he is.
Yeah, he's doing it with class. Like I say, that body shot, man, I just love it. And my number 1, it has to be everyone's number 1. You can't undisputed for the second time. In 2 different weights, you got to give him his kudos. It's Alexander Usyk. He has to be number 1 for everyone. It just has to be. As much as I would like to have put Bam as number 1, and I nearly did, but you can't just do what he's just done this year, Usyk, and just do that. I've got to play the game. So Usyk for what he's done, 2 fights with Tyson Fury, and become undisputed at heavyweight. It's the first person since Lennox Lewis. He's done it at cruiserweight as well. He's completed boxing, mate, and he has to be the fighter of the year, without a shadow of a doubt.
We've got 3 exactly the same there. And you're right. You look at Terence Crawford, who we haven't spoke about yet. He's jumped up in weight, was a multiple weight world champion. Inoue's jumped up in weight, multiple weight world champion. But the jump in weight from cruiserweight to heavyweight is a lot harder. It's a lot bigger than the weight jumps that those guys are doing. They're doing it in 4 or 5 pounds. Usyk's doing it in stones. He's doing it in stones. That's a huge task to do, and to pick up all 4 belts in such a small amount of time as well, and defend those belts is very. We're very lucky. We're very lucky in this generation to witness somebody like that. As you say, he's completed the game now. He's talking going back down to cruiserweight or defending against Daniel, the winner of Dubois and Parker. Fair fucks to him. You go on as long as you want. Your legacy is cemented now. Don't care if you're going to lose and run. You've completed the game. No one's done that in 25 years.
Nah.
Fair fucks to him.
Yeah, fair play, mate. He has to be the number one.
Right. Bit of a prospect review now.
Yeah.
We predicted that we made our prospects. We said the ones to look out for on our review show at the beginning of January 2024. I picked 1. They picked 2. So we'll just talk about the guys that we predicted. Then we'll go on to make our one to watch for 2025. Obviously, regular listeners to this know I picked Andy Cruz. They went for Moses Atuma and Caroline Dubois. So obviously Moses Atuma, Dave, the year he's had, go on, you're the guy that picked him. Wax lyrical. What he's done this year and what he's going to do in 2025, mate, because he's had one of the best years. We haven't mentioned him yet, which is quite surprising because he's done so much already, hasn't he?
Mate, he's been fantastic. Like I say, I did predict him to have. I don't think I ever believed it'd be as good as this. His last win against Nelson McKee, he was meant to give him round. He's splattered him in round 1. I think even next year he's going to have a massive.
That should have made one of the knockouts of the year, shouldn't it?
It should have been, yeah. It could have done, yeah. But like I say, he's gone on and done wonderful things. Like I say, for me, he's big, he's strong, he's young, but it's his quickness. And I know I mention it every time I mention it, but it's how fast he throws punches, especially in a heavyweight division where most of them are slow and cumbersome. They're just not going to see that type of pace coming at them, and it's frightening. He hasn't even had his man strength yet, and if they maneuver him quickly enough, he could break Mike Tyson's record. There's rumours he's going to do it. I would put him in with Pulev now, 44 years old, whatever he is, 100%. I would. So I'm just excited because we've seen him from day one. We've followed him in from day one, and we're seeing him progress, and I like the journey, and it's a shame everyone sort of knows about him now because next year he's going to be another fantastic year for him. It really, really is. There's going to be titles involved and whatnot. So
I think he was 20, Dave. I think he was 20. He's not a teenager anymore.
No.
He's old man now, 20.
Yeah, we were talking about Bam not being his peak at 24.
Yeah.
When we're talking about him being at 20 and he's just wiping people out. It's fucking frightening, but it's exciting at the same time because we got our usual suspect heavyweights coming towards the end now. Obviously Daniel Dubois is only 27 or whatnot, but your Furies and your Furies and your Joshuas and that they're coming to the end now. We need a new young blood, and there's no one more exciting than Moses Atuma, mate. I just can't wait to see where it comes from him. It's just so exciting.
Definitely. And Caroline Dubois, mate.
Caroline Dubois, she came world champion this year, another email champion, as you like to tell me. The writing was on the wall anyway. But the way I don't like the old email ones, I think if someone vacates, the number 1 and 2 should fight for it. I've always been in that camp. It's easy for me to say, I wouldn't want it because if you was in that position, you'd take whatever you can get.
Of course,
but I do think the world championship should be fought for. But that's for another day. So yeah, she's there. She had a very good year, and again, she's another one that I'd like to see a little bit of spite and pop, seeing as she's got brothers and stuff that can punch like fuck. But she's a very, very good boxer, very good technical boxer, which I think is underrated for her. She doesn't get spoken about enough. She's got a lot of skills, a lot of boxing IQ that no one really talks about. They expect because she's a Dubois, expect them to wipe people out, but she's more than that. So so it's like I'd like to see her name. She's making all the right noise. She's calling for Katie Taylors and stuff like that. She's saying that she wants these fights. So again, hopefully next year we'll see something special from her. But yes, world champion. So I haven't had a bad year for predictions. I've struggled this year. We spoke offline. I've struggled for prospects this year. No one's really. There's a couple of guys that I'm going to mention. But yeah,
you can only pick one, brother.
I'll mention the two anyway, and then we'll go from there. I have a feeling you're going to mention it. You're going to have the same one. I get a funny feeling.
I'm not sure. Go on.
Are we doing it now?
Okay, I'll go. All right, we'll do it together. I'll just go quickly over Andy Cruz.
Yeah,
What
over yours, yeah. Did you not pick? You didn't pick a female, did you?
No, I just picked one. So you mentioned Caroline Dubois there. It's interesting because she hasn't had a knockout this year and she's fighting this weekend. You mentioned Katie Taylor. It was Katie Taylor's belt that she vacated. So that's very telling as well. Did she want the Caroline Dubois smoke? Possibly not. She's getting older. She's having hard fights with Chantel Cameron and Amanda Serrano. So she's looking for big money paydays and things like that. Totally get it. But a lot of people are saying in the game that's been around the Dubois siblings, that Caroline, and what you just said there about her ring IQ and what she does in the ring, she's the most gifted of the Dubois. A lot of people are saying Caroline is the most gifted of the siblings, so it's very interesting. And 2025, yeah, you're right. It'd be interesting to see what route she goes down. And I will mention the route I'd like to see her go down when we make our predictions a bit later. But yeah, Andy Cruz, I picked him. I was high on Andy Cruz. Being disappointed with the matchmaking, or I'll take that back with not so much the matchmaking of Andy Cruz for Matchroom. I've been disappointed with the activity of him. He's only fought twice this year. He had a stoppage and a comfortable points win. The fight he had the stoppage in, I think it was over in, I think it was the Terence Crawford Madrimov fight. Yeah. We saw Andy Cruz sit down on his punches more, trade more, which I'm not sure I like. He's in with Boozy Ennis now. So I don't want that. And I'll ask your opinion on this as well. The Andy Cruz that come out from the Olympic Games, this stellar amateur gold medal winning superstar, the way he fights and only the first 3 fights looks like he's already tailor-made. He doesn't need to sit down on shots, even though he's adding a string to his bow and it's professional boxing. You've got to look for the knockout. You don't get paid for overtime. Totally get it. But the style he's got, no motherfucker can land on him. He looks so good, and that's why I picked him as a prospect. But I'm just an armchair fan. I don't know. So seeing him against a sort of B/C level opponent, I think his name was Antonio Moran. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. There was a lot of jeopardy there when it didn't need to be. So I don't like him getting into trading fights with this type of level of guy. When he steps up, is he going to be able to take the power? Is he going to be able to take anything off the guys that are world level, So it's quite frightening. But again, disappointing, not disappointed with his performances. I don't like the way he's starting to sit down the shots and getting caught with silly shots. But the activity needs to be more for a guy like Andy Cruz. I don't want his career being wasted because there's so much talent there. He will become a world champion. I guarantee he'll become a world champion. But I've got a little question marks now about the route he's going down with Boozy Ennis. So, yeah, I'm not as positive as you have been with yours. But what do you take up what I just said there about lack of activity and him actually sort of trading rather than boxing and moving,
Yeah, well, we had this conversation during his last fight, and we both agreed that it was unnecessary. If it ain't broke, why try and fix it? Like it's one of them sort of situations. We know he could box the head off most people. He beat Keyshawn Davis in the Olympics, and I don't know if you've seen that when he's dancing behind him and all that, and Snoop Dogg takes the piss out of him and all that sort of shit. But his boxing skills, he's up there with the elite, and he is. So for me, he doesn't need to get into unnecessary sort of scraps. So yeah, the tactics and we're all wrong. But I'm with you. Eddie Hearn was talking about him being the next big thing. He doesn't, for me, seem to be pushed like he has been.
No.
And he's for me, I'm a little bit underwhelmed with his activity and his opponents, because when they come up through the Olympics, they're meant to be fast tracked. So where has that happened? So I'm with you. He needs a big year next year for me. He really, really does. He needs to be pushed. He needs to be shouting from the rooftops. So come on, Eddie, get me some fights for fuck. You know what I mean? And really push his career, because it might go stale, and I don't want that for him, because he's a great fighter, and he's not young, so the time's not on his side. So he needs something big next year. Or this year.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep saying next year like we're doing this fucking in 2024. This year, me.
Well, it's only last week, 2024, wasn't it? So
yeah.
We're saying it like it was like 12 months ago, but yeah. Right, go on then. That's our little review for the prospects that we picked for 2024. Obviously, over the years, me and Dave do this, we will refer to the Andy Cruzes and the Caroline Dubois and the Moses Atumas, that we always pick them first. But this is 2025 now. So who are we looking out for from your point of view, Dave? Who's the guy, or girls, should I say? I don't know what rate you've gone down. Who are we looking for? Who you got?
Well, I'm going to say a name, and if you have him, I'll go for my second pick. All right, because I'll keep it fair. So okay. The one I'm looking out for, people have been talking about him in the UK and whatnot, and I've got Junaid Boston.
No, that's not mine.
Okay, well that's who I'm going to go for then. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's been a lot of talk about him. People are very high on him. So yeah, I'm gonna pick him this year, and because I think we're going to see quite a bit of him from what I can hear and see of him. I think he's going to be out quite a bit. So I think that this is going to be the sort of year where people start to know him.
Have you got his record there? What's his record? Do you know?
I haven't, mate. No, sorry.
I know he's undefeated, isn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, that's my prospect of 2025 will be Junaid Boston.
Yeah, good choice. I did think about him. He was in the list, but I kind of made my mind up. I was going to go for Daniel Lapin, that fought the other day in Saudi Arabia. He's part of Team Usyk, very very tall cruiserweight.
Yeah,
I think it's cruiserweight. I thought it's always a cruiserweight. Very fast feet. But there was something about that fight. I thought, not too sure. And I've gone back to my original pick. Now I'll just go through a repertoire of who he is and see if you can guess him, Dave. So the guy I'm looking out for, who everybody should be looking out for in 2025. At the moment, he's 12-0. He's got 10 knockouts. He fought 4 times last year. He's a top-ranked fighter. He fights at super lightweight. He's 20 years of age. He's fast, flashy, and spiteful and exciting. He calls himself El General, and he's got a famous fighter as a father. Can you guess who it is?
Oh yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I know you're on about. Oh yeah. Oh fuck, I'm forgetting. I'm shit with names, but I know who you're talking about. Go on, hit me with it.
Emiliano Vargas.
Yes.
He's my one to watch this year.
He
what worries me with him is because he's with Top Rank, and we go through all these Top Rank fighters. How long will Top Rank pad his record out? He's very good to watch, very exciting.
Yeah.
A level of opponent can be a bit wishy-washy, if you like. He's better than that. So hopefully we might get him up to 18-0 this year. Whatever. 2026, he starts fighting legit opponents. But from what I'm seeing, guys, go on. Every time Emiliano Vargas fights, we mention him on this podcast because obviously we're picking our prospects. Go and have a nose at him. He's very fast, very exciting, very flashy at what he does. I don't think he's a chip off the old block, though, I'm honest, Dave. He seems a bit more wild, or wilder than his dad. His dad was a bit more composed, different kind of fighter than his old man. But yeah, Emiliano Vargas is my one to watch for 2025.
Very good. I'll give you my other one just while we're there. Similar record from what off the top of my memory when I was looking at it earlier. 12 wins, 10 KOs, and my second pick was going to be Callum Walsh.
Yes, yeah. We spoke about him loads, didn't we, on here?
We have spoken about him loads. He's with the UFC guy, isn't he? So
yeah, Dana White. Yeah,
Dana White. So they're pushing that sort of Conor McGregor sort of narrative. I think he's going to have a big year.
Yeah.
So if you would have had Junaid Boston, I was going to go Callum Walsh.
The thing about Callum, every time we see him, he's getting better and better, isn't he?
Yeah.
Better. I remember the first time we reviewed him, when we spoke about him, he won his fight, but he was standing back and admiring his work, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He wasn't smelling blood or going in for the kill. He's getting caught with silly shots. I think we reviewed him 2 or 3 times, twice since. Sorry. And you see the defensive works there. His feet are getting better. He's finding angles. So, yeah, that's another great shout, mate. But you're only allowed 1 and you've gone for Boston.
Yeah.
Greedy. So, fights for 2025. Fights we want to see. It doesn't have to be what every man and his dog wants to see. It doesn't make what the media wants to see or boxing pundits. These are the fights me and Dave would like to see in 2025 from a personal point of view. Whether they're fantasy fights, whether they're realistic fights, whatever. What do you want to see? Who do you want to see fight each other, Dave, in 2025? Who's made your list, mate?
The fight that I want over any other fight, and I think I've said it before in here, is Inoue Nakatani. We must be telepathic because that is my number 1. That's the one off the top of my head anyway.
That is the super fight. I said it on here before. I heard somebody say on another podcast. That is the AJ versus Fury in their prime of the boxing world. Nakatani versus Inoue, Dave. Sorry to steal your thunder there, mate, but that's the Tokyo Dome fight. We don't need Saudi for that. That's a sellout crowd. That's all the Japanese. That sells out on a Tuesday lunchtime.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And hardcore boxing fans will watch that. They will stop what they're doing to watch that. Wherever I am in the world, whatever I'm doing, you drop that and you go and watch Inoue versus Nakatani. 2 elite guys going at it in the lower divisions. That's fucking wankable. My number 1, mate. Love it.
Yeah, that's my number 1. Another fight I'd like to see is obviously we spoke about Devin Haney coming back. I would like to see him in with Teofimo Lopez. That's another fight I'd like to see. For me, Teofimo Lopez is very blows hot and cold. I don't think he can get up for certain opponents, and I think it shows in his performances. For me, he gets up for that fight, and every time he's been up with him in a fight with Jeopardy, he's done very, very well. You know, he's beat Lomachenko, he beat Josh Taylor. So yeah, I would like, for me, in 2025 to see Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney, and it seems possible the way they're talking.
Yeah, great fight. Like it, mate. Anything else?
Nah. No,
I was doing your homework on the train on the way back, so you kind of rushed it a little bit. But yeah, mate, there's loads you can make. Again, Inoue Nakatani is the one I'd love to see. I want to see Janibek. I want to see him fight for Undisputed.
Oh yeah, Janibek. Sorry, Janibek, and I would like to see Janibek versus Shiraz next year. Yeah.
I'd love it to be 3 or 4 belts. I want Janibek out of the WBA belt, and then see who the best 160 fighter is on the planet. Because again, I spoke about Andy Cruz. I know Andy Cruz is in a different position as Janibek. Janibek's getting shafted. He's getting ignored. You've got such a talent, the big Kazakh monster sitting there with 2 belts, and nobody wants to fight. It doesn't make any sense. Fucking showcase his talent. Get him fights. Get him out there. Not these fucking mandatories that he's turning up for a day before, struggling with weight, and he takes the guy out in fucking X amount of rounds. He's one of the best fighters on the planet, so I need him active. I need him in big fights, and Hamza Shiraz is the fight I want to see him in with.
Yeah.
Tank versus Shakur, Dave.
Yes.
That's the fight that everybody's calling for. We'll see how good each guy really is. 2 completely different styles, 2 elite guys. That's, again, why that's not being made, I don't know. Uncle Turkey's the only one who probably can make this happen. But yeah, Tank versus Shakur. I've got Itoma versus Pulev for the reasons we keep giving, to be the fastest world champion of all time. You do the Pulev route, you become the regular champion, then you more or less, you know, with somebody like Frank Warren that can push that mandatory to fight one of the champions. Daniel Dubois might get hold of that WBA belt, depending on what happens with Joseph Parker and things like that. Martin Bakole versus anybody in the top 5.
Yeah.
Anyone in the top 5. The most avoided boxer in boxing currently. I just spoke about Janibek there. Bakole is more avoided. Nobody wants that smoke. I've got Garcia versus Haney, number 2.
Okay.
I want to see that roll back. I want to see if Devin Haney can take the power up without the drugs. I've got loaded. I've got Dan Rodriguez, the final chapter of Chocolatito.
Yeah, you want to see that, do you?
Yeah, I don't. This is boxing. This ain't tiddlywinks. People say, I don't want to see Chocolatito go out like that. Why?
Yeah.
Why? You know, put your feelings aside. Let's see a great fight.
Yeah.
That's a great fight to make. Serrano versus Nicholson for the girls. Obviously, AJ versus Fury. Everyone talks about. Nick Ball versus Rafael Espinosa, Dave.
Yes.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
The size
difference is huge, but I think Espinosa will ask Nick Ball more questions than Vargas did.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I've
got another one in. I've got another one if you want. Opetaia versus Zerdo.
Yeah, got that written down. Unification fight. We should be having that this week.
I think we're getting one anyway. That's why I sort of didn't put that one.
Yeah. Obviously, Eubank Ben's in there. Do I want to see it? Not particularly, but it's a massive fight commercially. So whether it's made or not. And just lastly, this is a sort of a wild one. I want to see Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall, part 3 in the cage. They're both in the PFL now. Why not?
Yeah,
Why not? We've done it amateur. We've done it professional boxing. Let's do it in the cage. That's the retro. That's the why they've both got into the PFL, so they can do the 3rd fight. Let's get it on. Yeah.
Do you know another one I would have liked, and I'm gutted that it got cancelled due to fucking PEDs. Dennis McGraw. I'd love to have seen that fight. I'm absolutely gutted that didn't happen. If it came out that the drugs wasn't a thing and whatnot, I would love to see that fight.
Definitely. Yeah. I after what I saw with McGraw and Reece Edwards, I favour Dennis McCann a bit more now.
Yeah, but the only thing with Dennis McCann, and we never really spoke about this before because of the way that the news broke and fell.
Yeah.
With him, do you see when he fought before and was like he doesn't really carry much pop, and all of a sudden he's coming in, he's got all this stamina and he's fucking. It don't half make you think.
Is it the eggs or the Haribos? That's the question you need to ask.
I know. Nothing's come out on that yet, but apparently Frank Warren said there was more than one.
Yeah, it's very Conor Ben-esque, isn't it?
It is, but there was more than one found in his system, so that's quite worrying. But
let's not cause aspersions. Let's wait for the evidence to come out. We don't want libo cases. Any more fights you want to see in 2025, mate?
I can't think of it at the minute now. There'll be loads.
There will be loads. So they're the ones I've got off the top of my head and notes I've written down. Predictions for 2025 in the boxing world. Anything you want to see in the boxing world. It doesn't have to be fights. It could be any sort of opinions that you want to. You just mentioned PEDs there. That could be something you want to see changed in 2025. You got anything written down, mate, for your predictions for next year, for this year?
I don't want the AI judge in 2025. Mm-hmm. He gets too many 10-10 rounds. I really want Clapback Thursday to come back and and Twat Tuesday.
Yeah,
because he was talking about doing that. That was amazing last year. So I hope that carries on in the new year. Hopefully him and Eddie have squashed that liable sort of stuff.
I still want them to have beef.
Oh, they will be, but he can't go.
Even if it's fake beef, because it sells.
Yeah.
Sells. People love that sort of stuff. They can kiss and cuddle behind the scenes and say, "Oh, this is working." I love it. The Clapback Thursday is brilliant.
Yeah.
Just probably don't go down the Scar Nicholson route with it next time, but
that was so to the bone, close to the bone.
That best one he's done though.
Yeah.
It's the best one he's done.
It was amazing. So plenty more of that where that came from. Go on, you hit with a few and I'll.
Yeah, so I've put down. I want to see Canelo fight in a meaningful fight this year. Don't get me wrong, Berlanga and Munguia, unbeaten fighters, ranked fighters. He's defended his belts, totally get it. But we need to see him in maybe with a better BF. We need to see him in with Bivol, trying to avenge that. And obviously the legacy fight for Crawford would be for Canelo. More for Crawford rather than Canelo, But yeah, we need to see him fight somebody with some jeopardy now, Dave. It's been quite disappointing from Canelo.
Yeah,
I know he hasn't got many fights left, but he's looking for legacy fights rather than payday fights, So yeah, that's what I want to see from Canelo. Lauren Price, I predict, will clean up next year, mate. Depending on if Ben Shalom can get those unification fights. She's already got one, and then the next one will be Michaela Meyer, which is a fantastic fight.
Yeah.
I predict Jack Catchell will still not get an opportunity to fight for a world title in 2025, Dave. He'll be fighting for another eliminator once he takes care of his opponent in a couple of months' time. I feel sorry for the guy, but I'm sort of losing patience now. I'm finding it boring. So many broken promises from what we're hearing from Sam Jones and himself and Eddie Hearn. Conor Benn to get knocked out this year, Dave.
Ooh.
Conor Benn to get knocked out. You just said there about Dennis McCann, and obviously Conor Benn's had 2 fights in the States against BC level opponents, and he's kind of thrown the kitchen sink at them and hasn't come close to stopping them. Whereas previous, he was knocking them out for fun. So it's very interesting what happens with him. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike Conor Benn. It's been a long old process.
Yeah.
But I predict that he will get knocked out. And by the way, when I listened back to our review show from earlier on in 2024, I made the claim that Fraser Clark gets chinned and gets knocked out.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did.
I was right, and I think Conor Benn will as well. And this is the wild one for you. I don't know if you see this one coming. Lover of the sweet science, you'd probably think, what the fuck's he talking about? If he's going to fight again, and it probably will never happen because his style has kind of changed and he's got the dartitis of the boxing world, whoever he goes in with, I want to see Deontay Wilder start windmilling again.
Yeah?
I want to see him start windmilling again. I do. Because that power doesn't disappear overnight. If you can set feet, and do you remember, mate, he got so much criticism, Deontay Wilder, probably some justified and whatnot. He's an Olympic bronze medalist. I mean, they don't give out bronze medalists as sweets. He won it fair and square. Yeah. So he had something about him. But when he was windmilling and he was throwing crazy punches and knocking people out willy-nilly, that was exciting.
It was, yeah.
Now he's on the world stage in front of everyone who knows his name now, whether it's on a Turkey card, whether it's on a PBC card. Just one more roll of the dice if he's going to do it. I'd love to see him win. Could you imagine, right? Deontay Wilder goes in with a top 5 guy, starts windmilling, and gets a knockout from it. What are people going to be saying? Oh, he's back. Wilder's back. He's back. He's got the confidence. He can fight again. Oh, putting him in Usyk. Put him in with AJ. What was AJ? No, that's exactly what will happen.
He's only one knockout away from being back.
That's what I'm saying. Those windmilling days were crazy. But has he got it anymore? I don't know.
Well, I've got 2 predictions, and then unless you've got any more, but I predict that Martin Bicoli will become world champion in 2025.
Yeah, mate, if he can get the fights.
Yeah. He has to just keep doing what he's doing. He has to keep doing it. At some point in time, it'll be called. I think he will. It might even be against a Pulev, something down that sort of route. I can, seeing him getting something from that. And I predict that Chris Eubank Jr. will not become a world champion in 2025.
That's a guarantee, that one.
Yeah.
That is a guarantee, mate. Yeah. And will he be the guy to knock out Conor Benn, though? This is the thing.
Well, everyone, no matter what you think of it, people will tune in to see it.
Of course they will. Of course they will. Just want to say thank you to Uncle Turkey for making a lot of this happen. Most of the fights we've waxed lyrical about down to him. Yeah. Without him, this doesn't happen. So continue for 2025, making great fights, putting on great events. Thank you, brother. Still campaign to bin the belts, Dave. I'm sick of the belts. I still campaign to make the Ring Magazine the #1 belt on the planet. I don't know if you noticed, mate. The WBC, Suleiman seems to be shitting himself at the moment because he's gone down the route. It's a good thing of not taking sanctioning fees off the girls. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. Is he panicking because Turkey's took over the Ring Magazine and he's trying to get undisputed fights together so they can sort of whiplash those belts out of the way and make the Ring Magazine? He's got a method. There's a method in his madness, mate. Yeah. So that's good. And obviously harder punishment for PED cheats as well, mate. We need to sort this out now because it's getting past a joke, and it makes boxing look very, very bad. So yeah, and just an honourable mention, mate. You mentioned Francis Ngannou there earlier. I think everyone's fallen in love with the guy. Came into boxing, had a long layoff from MMA. Everybody knows his backstory, where he came from, illegal immigrant working in the mines. How he got over to America. There's got to be a film made about Francis Ngannou. Obviously, went in there, done a job on Fury, didn't get the decision, got folded by Anthony Joshua, earned a shitload of money, and then he lost his 15-month-old baby boy to a brain hemorrhage. Came back, and I've got to say, we spoke about this. I found, even though we're talking about MMA now, I found it's emotional. Yeah. When he beat that fucking 7-foot Brazilian guy, the PFL stopped him in a round, battered him, beat him up. Yeah. And him, Ngannou, and all his team were in the centre of the cage, crying their eyes out. I thought that was such a poignant moment for everything he's been through. He's a superstar. I love him. MMA, boxing. I think the guy is just an amazing person. And if he wants to come back into boxing, have a bit of a crossover, bring more eyeballs, earn some more coin, fair fucks to him, man.
Yeah.
Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, no, I echo your statements, mate. Listen, no one should ever have to go through what he's been through. He's a nice human being, and listen, wishing nothing but the best, man.
Definitely. Right. Pound for pound top 10. So we do our top 10s. We won't analyse every boxer for time wise. We've still got our predictions to do for this weekend coming up. And we've got a little new bit at the end I want to tell you guys about before we say goodbyes and fuck off. But I've got our pound for pound top 10s from last year, Dave. I've written down. I couldn't remember mine. I remembered a couple of them, but I couldn't remember the order. Obviously, from 4 down, and I've got yours as well. So let's start from 10 upwards. Who have you got this year at number 10?
Yeah, I spoke to you before. There's a couple in. I've got a couple in here that I'm just putting in because it's my list, and I think they'd be there. I'm not having your old fucking tanks and all that, and they don't do enough for me.
List. You put who you want in there.
My number 10 is Zurdo Marimes. And I know you don't want to go too into it, but yes, he was champion at super middleweight. He fought a light heavyweight and lost to Bivol, then went to cruiserweight and won a 2-world championship. Now, if he beats Bivol, this conversation doesn't happen. He's 5 or 6 in the list, and that's a fact. If he goes from super middleweight to light heavyweight to cruiserweight world champion, that's a fact. Yes, he lost to Bivol, but he's 2-weight world champion. So for me, he's number 10.
Yeah. Can you? I'll do my 10.
Yeah, your 10, yeah.
Yeah. Can you remember who you had number 10 last year?
No.
Bam Rodriguez.
Oh, did I?
10.
Yeah, just squeezing in.
Yeah, just squeezing. Just made the list. Number 10, mate. I've got Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
He's been disappointing this year, but you're thinking, why have you put him in his top 10? I put him in my top 10 because he is a world champion. And he does deliver the sweet science. People criticize how he boxes, but I've said it on here multiple times, and I'll continue to say it multiple times as well. You've got to land on him. Yeah. If you're not landing on him and he's moving out the way and he's scoring, he's landing on you, he's winning the fucking fight. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Is the management of Shakur Stevenson been great? No. Is the promotion of Shakur Stevenson been great? No. But he's an elite boxer. And because he's been inactive and bits and bats like that, he does make my list, but he makes it at number 10. I had Better BF at number 10 for mine last year, mate. So number 9, who you got number 9, Dave?
So number 9, I've got Kenshiro Taraji.
I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I'm going wild this year.
You are.
I'm putting people in on merit. I agree with what you said about Shackle Stevens, but I just don't think he's had a great year. Nothing to take away from his performances, like you said.
He's only had one fight as well.
Yeah,
so.
we admire that. I know he got a lot of stick for it, but I'm doing it year by year now. He could have a fantastic year next year. He wins a couple of fights next year. He beats Schofield and he goes on and fights Zepeda. Then my list is a different list next year. So I'm doing it purely on this year. So for me, Kenshiro Taraji is in at number 9.
Do you remember you had it number 9 last year?
No.
Tyson Fury.
Did I?
Yeah. I guess he doesn't make the list this year.
No.
My number 9, mate, I've got Tank Davis in there. Again, he's only had one fight this year. He got the knockout. And the reason I put him again, he's world champion. I put him in there. Maybe they're not great choices. They are the old kind of guard, if you like. You said you're not going down that route, and that's fine. I'm not comparing him to Deontay Wilder in terms of skill and ring IQ and things like that. But what I will say about Tank Davis, he can be losing a fight and you're just waiting for him to detonate. And he's doing it to everyone he's put in front of him. Yes, he can argue that certain ones are cherry picked. Yes, he can argue he's a weight bully and things like that. But whoever's put in front of Frank Martin, there was jeopardy there. We did back Tank Davis. Everybody backed Tank Davis. And Frank Martin had his moments. He was winning rounds. But you're watching it and you're thinking, when is that world class going to come out? When's he going to pick his moment? And he picked this moment and fucking iced him. Yes, one fight a year isn't good enough for a world champion. I say that about any world champion. Yeah. But he's so good to watch. I enjoy watching him. He is such an exciting fighter. He's got an attitude in and out of the ring. He's got the full package, Tank, and they should be doing more promotional wise with him. And it's only a matter of time, I think, before he's on a Turkey card. But yeah, Tank Davis, mate, he makes my number 9. And last year I had Emmanuel Navarrete as my number 9, which he doesn't make the list this year. So yeah. Number 8. If you've got number 8, mate.
At number 8, I've got Junto Nakatani.
Snap.
Yeah, has to be in there. I'm actually high on. He's only 27 years old.
Heavyweight world champion.
Yeah. So for me, he's a class act. And again, we spoke about the fight that I want to have him, and in a way, that for me is a super fight. And yeah, he makes my number 7, mate. He has to be there.
Was that no? It's number 8, wasn't it?
Number 8.
Yeah. It must be a thing about number 8s because last year we both had Shaka at number 8.
Oh, right, yeah.
The number 8s we always go the same.
Yeah.
It was number 8, wasn't it? Yeah. Shaka.
Yeah, number 8. Yeah.
Right. So who you got number 7?
I want to take this guy out. Like I really, really do, but I can't because he's going to go down as a Hall of Famer. I've got number 7 is Canelo Alvarez. Say what you want. He went in with Mungai and he went in with Belanga. And we were they are names as such, but
he's still defending his belts, isn't he? This is the thing.
That's right. I mean, you can't take him out. As much as I could quite easily just drop him out of it, but you can't. And unfortunately for me, he's in at number 7.
Yeah, he is slipping down the list, isn't he? But he's staying in. Do you know who you had at number 7 last year?
No.
Better Biev.
Okay.
Better Biev. I've got Bivol at number 7. I put Navarrete in instead of Bivol last year. He's had 2 fights this year, Bivol. I probably disrespected him last year, and that was purely on inactivity. He's had a knockout, which he was due. He either beats people by unanimous decision or knockouts. And obviously, he went in Better Biev and had one of the fights of the year. Super, super close fight. Had his moments. Such a skilled craftsman. The only guy, apart from Floyd Mayweather, to actually school Canelo Alvarez. And he jumps back into my top 10. At number 7. And I had Teofimo Lopez as my number 7 last year. Number 6, Dave. Who have you got at number 6, mate?
I've got Bivol.
Bivol.
Yeah, I've got Bivol. Listen, if Bivol gets beat again, this is a different conversation for next year. But, off for 2 losses, but depends on the nature of the defeat. It was a close fight last time. But for me, he has to be ahead of Canelo because he beat Canelo. I know it shouldn't really be like that, but, it is. So, I've got Bivol at number 6.
Who did you have at number 6 last year? Any clue?
Conor Ben.
Begins with a C. Canelo.
Yeah.
You had Canelo last year at number 6.
Yeah.
I had Dan Rodriguez at number 6, and number 6 this year I've got Canelo for exactly the same reasons you gave there. It's about defending his belts.
Yeah.
He is slipping down. He really is, and that's why I said in my predictions, we want to see him have a bigger year. He needs a fight with a bit more jeopardy in it. So yeah, hopefully we see that from Canelo. Number 5, Dave. Who you got?
I've got Beterbiev. Come off a fantastic win against Bivol. Unified. He's undisputed.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, Beterbiev is no. Sorry, no, I fucked up. Sorry, I've got Bam.
Snap. Got Bam as well. Yeah.
I fucked up. Sorry, mate.
You got Bam at 5 and Beterbiev at 4.
Yes.
Yeah, same as me. Exactly the same, mate.
Yeah, Bam at 5, Beterbiev at 4. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Apologies. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Bam.
You could either way though, couldn't you?
Well, yeah. I just feel obviously I could put now Bam at number 1, but
I think it's sorry, Matt. I think it's the undisputed status that that's kind of put him into that realm. You know?
The difference is what Beterbiev has done this year, fighting Bivol and becoming undisputed and whatnot. But it's the difference between.
Remember, he knocked out Callum Smith as well at the beginning of the year.
Yes, January he did. Yes, so I'm not. Listen, Bam had a fantastic year, but it was more than the undisputed thing that's done it for me for Beterbiev going for.
So last year at number 5 you had Devin Haney.
Oh fucking hell!
Number 4 you had Bivol.
Yeah.
So here we go. 1, 2, and 3 now, because me and you've had 4 and 5 exactly the same. 1, 2, and 3. Unless you're going to shock me, unless there's a curveball in there, unless one of these guys have dropped out, what order have you got it in 2024 going into 2025?
You want me to go 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
3, I've got Bud Crawford. Number 2, I've got Naya Nue.
Yeah.
And number 1, I've got Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, snap.
Yeah.
With Crawford, because again, 1 fight a year, it's because he's a 4-weight world champion.
Yeah.
He's a 4-weight world champion. He has to be in there.
Yeah.
It's legacy stuff. It's legacy stuff. Now he's looking at going up to another weight and becoming a 5-weight world champion. It's you know. Even though you'd be probably disappointed if he's in an activity this year, he's fighting once a year, which isn't enough for a world champion. I knew he's only fought twice, but he's obviously getting the job done with his knockouts, and he's obviously a 4-weight world champion. And Usyk's number 1, the best fighter on the planet, which we've gone over numerous times on this podcast today. But we've literally gone more or less the same, haven't we? Bar you've gone Tirage, which I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And you haven't got Tank in there, have you? But I understand the reason.
I took Shakur Stevenson and Tank out.
You did, yeah.
I love Tank Davis as well when he fights up, but and I've said it before, his matchmaking for me, I just don't see him go. Yes, he's a world champion, but I don't see him going after the champions and all that. I just don't see the chase for it, and it frustrates me. His opponents frustrate me. So. No
room for Tyson Fury this year for Mr. Holland, eh?
No.
I had Tio in mine, and he's come out. You haven't got Tio in yours. You didn't have Tio in yours last year, neither.
No.
And obviously, Devin Haney. I think everyone had Devin Haney, and he's literally dropped out of the top 10 just purely on that Ryan Garcia fight.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it works, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
But, hey-ho. That was our preview. Well, that wasn't our preview. That was our review of the year with everything involved. That's how me and Dave saw 2024. We're up to 1 hour, 28 minutes now. Couple of fights to preview going into the first weekend of January, the first proper weekend of the year. Boxing wise, but the fights don't start on Saturday night. The actual first fight starts Wednesday morning for us here in the UK. Over in Australia, the IBF Cruiserweight King, if you like, Jai Opetaia returns to his home country for the first time in 2 years. We're obviously used to seeing Jai over in the UK and doing bits in Saudi Arabia. He takes on I think it's from New Zealand, the Kiwi challenger in David Nyika. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I just forgot the N, or David Nyika. Down on the Gold Coast in Queensland. The fight we wanted, we mentioned it earlier, was Opetaia versus Zerdo. The IBF, once again, being a cunt to Jai Opetaia, forced him to take these mandatory shots. It wasn't supposed to be Nyika. How do you say it? You're good at names.
You're fucking asking me.
It wasn't supposed to be David anyway. I'll call him David. I'm fucking struggling with his name here. I have seen him before. He fought on a Saudi card, but it was supposed to be Hussein and Sin Cara was supposed to be fighting against Jai Opetaia for a mandatory shot, but he got injured in December. He was ranked number 1, so I totally get it. But the IBF could have probably allowed and waited for Jai to fight Zerdo, even though Jai wants to keep busy. I totally get it. But David got the call when Sin Cara pulled out. David is he's 10-0 at the moment. He's got 9 KOs to his name. He's 6'6". He's a lot bigger than Jai. He's got a 78-inch reach. He's got all the sort of advantages over Jai. And I just said there, we saw him in Saudi Arabia on the Usyk Fury 1 card, taking out his opponent in 4 rounds. You're a massive Jai Opetaia fan, Dave. I'm right behind you with him. Do you see this as a risky fight, or do you see, I know there's obviously the Polynesian thing down there, Australia versus New Zealand, the whole rivalry they build it up with. Do you see this as a risky fight for Jai, or is this literally a showcase fight for him to say, right, I'm going to show you what I can do, get you out the way, Zerdo Ramirez, let's get it on? I don't know what to make of this. I really don't.
I'm a little bit. I'm not saying I'm concerned, but I do see potential banana skin over this sort of thing. I'm not saying I'm worried, but I've just seen these things before. And, I'm not saying he's going to take him lightly, but he wasn't the original opponent, so he may not have trained for this type of opponent. You're saying that the attributes that he's got there, has he got the right sparring? There's just a few factors in it that can make this end up being harder than it needed to be. I just get a funny feeling. I'm not going to go bold in the first week and think that Opetaia's going to lose, but I do think that this is going to be tougher than people expect. I've been reading a few bits and pieces in that this week, and there's a few people that we follow, like Ringside Fracas, and them. They seem to think that this fight's going to be a decent enough fight. They think that this guy's coming to win himself, and he's so yeah. Is there jeopardy there? Possibly.
I think this might be tougher than the original fight.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Do you know what? I'm going to go in. I'm going to go for Opetaia, obviously, but I think he's going to go on points. I think this is going to be a tough night. I think it's going to be like with you. I think it's going to be harder than he expects.
Yeah, both Olympians. He's an orthodox fighter, with Jai's a southpaw fighter, so obviously he's got to work out Jai's speed and timing is obviously crucial in this. He's so fast. He times his shots really well. He's got that fast in and out style. Obviously, we mentioned about the height and the reach advantage Nyika's got to him, but he has never been past 5 rounds, which Jai's obviously done 24 rounds with a great champion, ex-champion in Marius Breda. So the kind of resume is a lot more potent, if you like, than David. I'm going to call him. Once I watch this on fucking Wednesday morning, I'm going to practice saying his name. It shouldn't be too hard, but I can't fucking say it. Yeah. But will he put a spanner in the works? This is the thing. It's a free shot of gold. It was never sort of entitled to, not yet in his career. But I agree. I don't know if Jai's going to get him out of there. Possibly in the later rounds if it goes past 5. We don't know what David's gas tank is like. Obviously, Jai's done it numerous times. But yeah, as a safe bet, I'm going to go the same way as you, mate. I'm going to go for Jai Opetaia on points. Yeah. On the undercard, mate, we've got Justice Hooney. We saw him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, didn't we? Taking it on some big fat Argentinian bloke. In a fight, he got rid of him in 2 rounds. It was absolutely pointless. And I've got to admit, Dave, I don't understand why they're putting Hooney down this route. He's fighting South Africa's Sean Pottinger over 10 rounds. Look, he fought against Kevin Lerena in Saudi back last year. Tough fight for him, came through it. Yeah. But the level of opponent he's been getting since is literally sea level. You think, even though it was maybe a bit of a scare, Eddie, he's a matchroom fighter. I'll be protecting the I'll be protecting the product. Kind of get it. But you don't go from an ex-world champion in Kevin Lerena to start fighting Binman. I don't know where they're going with it. Is Eddie Hearn going to pack his record out now, give him bums, not learn anything from it? This fight to me is rubbish. This is a rubbish fight. And Justin Hooney's he's won his last 2 fights in round 2, and he'll destroy this guy in 2 rounds as well. I've got no doubt about it. I don't understand what route they're going down. Was the Kevin Lerena fight far too early for him? Possibly, but he came through it. There was jeopardy there. He was hurt, and he came through it and got the win. So, I get it. Easy opponent. I'm going straight in there. Justice Hooney, mate, to win, knock him out in 2 rounds. Yeah,
I'm with you. It's a keep busy fight. I don't really understand what sort of route they're taking him down. Are they trying him to get him rounds, which doesn't seem to be happening because he's not going to get rounds against these type of guys. You're correct. So yeah, I don't really see the way that they're pushing him at the moment. It don't, and another thing as well, they don't seem. We know of him, and you know of him, but they're not. No one's really screaming from the rooftops. You don't sit with him. They're just letting him be a bit of a run of the mill sort of fighter at the moment. If you know what I mean, he's there or thereabouts, but they're not screaming his name. You know, they're not pushing him. They're not pushing him into any type of position to fight for anything meaningful at the minute. So I don't know the route at the moment. Again, I'm with you. This opponent doesn't really do anything for me. It would be good for him to get rounds, but I just don't see it with this guy. I'm with you. I'm going to go for a knockout for Hooney in round 3. I'm going to go one more than you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right what you're saying there. When you think about he's one of the new generation coming through, he's obviously got Moses Atuma. You've got Jalov. Jalov's still coming through, even though he's 30, so he's running out of time, really. But he's still, I believe, nailed on heavyweight champion of the world. And you've obviously got Richard Torres Jr., which we've seen.
Yeah.
With him, that defensively he hasn't been asked questions yet, but he's excited. He comes forward, he throws like fuck. He's kind of an old school heavyweight, small heavyweight. If that, Justice Hooney at the moment, even though there's been good things said about him, I don't jump off my seat to watch him. He doesn't have that sort of panache as those other guys have for the new breed. Even though he's going to go through some of these guys, he's been like a dose of salts. I can't get excited for him. In his countryman Terramona Jr., who we saw in Monaco a couple of weeks ago, Dave. Knocked his opponent out in one round. The Olympian, after just watching him for one fight, for one round, he jumps out at me straight away. There's something about who he looks. I'm not sold just yet. Nothing against the guy. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's knocking guys out. He's getting wins. Fair fucks to him. But there's something about him. I look at him and I think, I'm not sure you're going to be
what we think.
I don't know if you're going to be world class. I don't know. Early days, prove me wrong. I want egg on my face, but I don't know if I can get out for Hooney, man.
I'm with you. I just don't see him like screaming his name up in lights. Like, I know the Tuma's doing it for himself by his performances and whatnot, but everyone's talking about him. Hooney just seems to be just going under the radar, and his opponents seem to be the same. You know, there's just nothing stand out. It's just nothing. There's no sparkle at the moment for me. We've said it last year. The je ne sais quoi. I don't see it with him at the moment. He might break out, but he needs a breakout night, and he ain't getting it.
Maybe we're being too harsh, but we're only going on what we're seeing at the moment. So
yeah.
Anyway, good luck to him on Wednesday morning while we're eating our lunch. Or I think the actual card comes on at 8:00 in the morning, Dave. I think Opetaia's fighting around about lunchtime. So yeah, if you're at work, guys, or whatever you're doing, stop that, put the zone on, and have a nosy at Jai Opetaia versus David Nyika. I think I said it right for the last time there. Should be interesting. So lastly, guys, Saturday night over on Sky Sports, Sheffield is the destination. We see British and Commonwealth champion Callum Simpson headline the card as he takes on I did write his name now, Steed Woodall, excuse me. He'll be defending his British and Commonwealth titles for the first time at super middleweight. We saw him against Zach Chelly over Oakwell last year. I remember, if I go back to that fight, Dave, I remember backing Zach Chelly. And obviously, Simpson done a job on him. It was a unanimous decision. Fought really, really well. Super impressive what I saw.
Yeah.
And he's making a defense against Steed Woodall. I've had a look at Steed Woodall's resume, Dave. I don't really know too much about him. And then when I saw he was the guy that knocked out Lerone Richards on Channel 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought, shit.
Yeah.
This would be tougher than what I thought.
Yeah.
And if you look at the resume, he's got defeats against Steve Rolls and Patrick McCrory. Yes, they're fringe, well-level fighters. But you compare it to Callum Simpson, Steed Woodall's the one with the experience. Steed Woodall's the one with a better resume in the tougher fights. I think we just spoke about Opetaia's fight. Don't get me wrong, it's not on the same level as that. But I think this could be a banana skin as well, Dave. I don't know if Callum Simpson, fair play to the guy. He's recently lost his sister in a car crash. It's been well documented. He's had no Christmas like a lot of the fighters. He's trained all through it. He's going to want to defend his belts. He said he wants to win the British title 3 times so he can keep it. So, I will be backing Callum Simpson, but I think this is a hard fight. Woodall's got a decent knockout ratio as well. He's got 12 knockouts in 19. Decent sort of British level fighter. It's a free shot at 2 of the belts. I think it's going to be a really good fight. I think Steve Woodall's going to knock him out. What's the vibe you're getting with this one?
I'm getting what we usually get with a British title fight. That vibe, where this is going to be. I think this is going to kick off 2025. You're going to ask me at the end what you think the fight of the night's going to be, and this is going to be it. I think this is. And I looked at Callum, but he looks in some shape, by the way. Callum Simpson. he looks in some shape. Like he looks really up for this, and obviously he's got a lot of fire in his belly, obviously for the recent things that have happened and whatnot. I think he's going to come into this fight with some intent as well, and I can see this being a real barnstormer. I'm going to go for Callum Smith, but I'm going to go for him for a very, very close and hard-fought points victory.
That's twice you said Callum Smith. Is he on this card?
Sorry. Callum Simpson. Sorry. Callum Simpson to win on points in a very hard, tough 12-rounder.
Yeah, I think this could be fight of the weekend, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to go the same. I think Steed Woodall. I don't know. This is a tough fight. Will he be fighting on emotion? You know, I don't know. This is an hard fight for him, but I think he's got enough to come through. Yeah, I could exactly see the same fight as you, mate. A tough points decision, but he just nicks it. And then what does he do? Does he look at Zach Parker? Does he look at the European champ? Well, he's got to go European, isn't he?
He's got to go European, yeah.
Yeah, the French guys. So yeah, good luck to Callum Simpson, not Callum Smith. Yeah. Our friend will be there as well, mate. Jasmina Zapatochna. They're from the same gym.
Yeah.
He's very supportive of Callum as well. So I'm guessing she'll be there. So yeah. And just lastly, ladies and gentlemen, on this card, Caroline Dubois, Dave's prospect for last year. Let's not fuck about now. Yes, we joked she was an email champion. She is the WBC champion. She's fighting against Canada's Jessica Kamara. Waste of time. This is. I don't know if it's a mandatory or it's a voluntary. Just get in there. She hasn't done a knockout in last year, Dave. She's due a knockout. I think she'll stop this girl very easily. What she needs to do after is get on the mic, rock the mic, call out Terry Harper to unify for the WBO, call out Ferreira to unify for the IBF, and then jump up at the end of the year to Chantel Cameron to fight at 140. She needs proper tests now. She needs proper fights. No disrespect to Jessica Cameron. She's going to get knocked out. I believe she's going to get knocked out. Caroline Dubois is going to make a statement. She's going to get in the ring. Well, Ben Shalom's hopes he's going to get in the ring and call Eddie Hearn's bluff, should I say, because he's always moaning and bitching about Ben Shalom pulling fighters out. He's got Terry Harper and he's got Beatrice Ferreira, two world champions there. Put one of them in with Caroline Dubois when she smokes a scale on Saturday night. Let's see how tough, not tough you are, but let's see if you will do that. Let's not go down purse bids. Let's just make a fight. You're both in bed with Uncle Turkey. Fucking make it. Mate, I'm going straight in here. Caroline Dubois she's too good for this level of opponent. I think there's about 10 years age difference in there. To knock her out in 3 rounds. Caroline Dubois knock out 3 rounds.
I agree totally. I think that Caroline Dubois is going to absolutely school this girl, box her head off. I don't think that she's going to get absolutely knocked out, but I do think that her corner are going to pull her out, and I think her corner are going to pull her out in round 6, saying she's had enough, she can't take no more. I think that's how this fight stops. So for me, Caroline Dubois to absolutely school her in every single round, first to the punch, show levels to this, and she'll quit on her stall. So and in round 6 for round 6,
I can see a Lauren Price type of victory here, where she sits down on everything and takes her out. I think it's going to happen. She needs to have a better 2025 this year, and there's champions out there for the taking. I won't say for the taking. Terry Harper's improved. That'd be a great fight domestically.
Yeah.
Beatrice as well, another champion. There's belts there. We need the top girls fighting the top girls. Forget these tin cans. Forget them. It sounds disrespectful or whatnot. She needs to be in with Jeopardy. This isn't Jeopardy for her. I don't have egg on my face when we do this on Monday in our review show, mate. So yeah, good luck to Caroline and good luck to all the fighters over the weekend. So we're coming to the end of the show now. I said there's going to be a new bit this year. Obviously, Prediction League as well. We're doing that kind of different. I'll just quickly go through that. So obviously, Dave's won the last 2 Prediction Leagues. We've got points of 300 and something. There was a massive gap this year, 30 points, I think it was, compared to last year. I think that was 3 points. But the point is now, we're still doing the same format, but instead of doing massive point gaps, we're going to do 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 3-0, whatever. So just say, for instance, guys, Dave wins this week. It's 1-0 to Dave.
Yeah.
I win the following week, it'd be 1-1. Dave wins the next week, it'd be 2-1. We're going to do it in that kind of format. But this one, I've come up with this idea. Now, this will benefit the boxing community. So it says there, Hollands weekly wager. Now, as Dave won the Prediction League 2 years on the trot, he's the guy with the predictions. He gets more right than I do. So it's only right that he makes the predictions. So what we're going to do is, guys, out of all those 4 fights we spoke about, there's going to be one fight there that Dave is super, super confident on. So if you've got a spare fiver, a spare pound, how much money you want to put on it, take Dave's advice and have a punt. That's why it's called Holland's weekly wager. However, this is where it gets interesting now. We do it on a 6-point basis. So obviously, guys, there's a point for the fighter. There's 2 points for the method of victory, and then there's 3 points, if it's a knockout in the round. So there's a maximum of 6 points. For however many points Dave gets right every week, I will put that to £1. So if it's a 6 points, I will put £6 down. And the following week, if only he gets the fighter right and the method wrong, I will put £1 down. So when we get to the end of the year, all that money in the pot will go towards a boxing charity. It will go towards maybe a gym. It will go towards aftercare for boxers. It will go towards a sponsor. And you guys will be picking it. So we'll have options on Twitter. We'll have email options. Where that money goes is entirely up to you. But it will go to something boxing related. So, Mr. Holland, how confident are you this season? This year, should I say?
I'm very confident. I'm very good at the predictions, as you know.
Lovely. So yeah, but you deserve to do it because you're the king in 2 years on the trot. So the 4 fights we've done for this weekend, mate, obviously you've made your prediction, but there's one fight there that you can sort of guarantee for me, for the boxing world, for the punter to put their money on. So where are we going, mate? Where's the money going this weekend?
The banker for me this week is Caroline Dubois. That result for me is the banker of the week. Like I say, Opetaia, I expect Opetaia to win, but I think he's been in a good fight. Callum Simpson, again, close fight. So for me, if you want the banker of the week, that would be out of them 4, it'd be Caroline Dubois.
So for my memory serves me right, that's Caroline Dubois to win. She wins by knockout, and she wins in the 6th round. So that's 6 points up for grad, ladies and gentlemen. And hopefully, if it comes through, £6 will be coming out of Mr. Graham's pocket and into the kitty. And that's how we're rolling.
And I'll match everything that David Graham puts in.
There you go. That's how we're rolling this year, guys.
Yeah.
That's how we're rolling. So get your thinking caps on. So even if he only gets 1 right all year, just say he owns £1. We win £1. That £1's better in the charity's pocket than it is ours. But I can guarantee you, we'll be getting a lot more than £1.
Well, what points did I get last year?
30 points more than me, so it was 300 and something, wasn't it? So
you think that's 600 quid if we do it again this year?
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
So there you go. That's a nice little bit of money for someone.
Yeah. So yeah, my mouth is dry as fuck. I've drunk all my can of Stella. The time is 9:10. We've done 1 hour and 46 minutes.
Yeah.
We've done half an hour less than we've done for our first one.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, mate? Before we say our goodbyes and fuck off.
No, just glad to be back. It seemed like we hadn't done it for ages, and I did message you thinking, are we doing it again this year? To which you said, of course. And so I'm glad. So we're back every Monday now, and into the new year, mate. I want to see a bit of boxing. I feel like I ain't seen a live boxing for a long time, and it was only Usyk Fury from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we've had nothing, have we? As you said.
Cool. So yeah, it'd be nice to start watching a few fights again.
Yeah, getting back into it. How are you consuming the fight Wednesday morning, by the way? Because I'm guessing you'll be at work. I'll be at work, getting up to watch it.
I'll stick it on my phone. Yeah, I can just put it up while I'm at my desk. I'll just stick it on there.
Yeah,
and have it on in the background.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. So yeah, so that's it, guys. That's the end of episode 92. Like, share, and subscribe via YouTube. For your visual feed, and do the same for your audio feed over at Spotify and Apple, along with a 5-star review, as nothing else will do. Until next Monday, guys, have a good one. Stay safe. And as I always say, enjoy the bloody boxing. David boy, peace out, brother. And I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, take care, mate. Have a good one.
Peace out, man.